So in essence, you became the expert for this association and allowed them to hit the hot button that is mobility.
Right, and it just so happened that their definition of education was my definition of marketing. It worked out well.
Well, that's what I was going to observe. Like, could you combine your idea of going to somebody who's in a trusted relationship with your market, and Chris's idea of having an MVP or a concept? Could you do that together, or would they steal it?
I should also give a shout out though to let him know what happened after that webinar. As your Mobile App Trade Association, I actually also serve on HIMSS. I am on the HIMSS board for that. And after his mobile app, they've now formed a new group inside of HIMSS that Edna's heading up. They're hiring new people. So I wanted to give some third-party validation to say, they went back to me, the Mobile Apps Trade Association, and said, you know, we did this. How's it going? We really think what he brought to our attention was crucial. So his model and what he's saying, I can validate that it works after, when he's not on the phone. So we talked positively about his presentation when he wasn't on the phone. So some third-party validation for what you did there.
So that sort of like goes to my idea, or my question a minute ago. If you go and pitch an idea that's really good, how do you know they're not going to, run with it, right? You probably wouldn't have started an association.
We'd love them to run with it. That's good, right? And again, but you got to have the subject matter expertise, and that's the trick. And so again, if you're out there and you solve a problem better than anyone else in the world that nobody else can solve, which I would hope everyone, you're building an app, that's what you do, you are that subject matter expert. So find the group that in essence needs that problem solved, and find your, in essence, channel to market. Everybody wins. So as I say, I mean, I say it in jest, but so our version of marketing, it was very educational, right? The whole reason we ran it was the members that showed up, they got a lot of value from it. They learned something that they didn't know, and it wasn't just that Voxzone solves the problem. It was, here's all the challenges you're going to face, here's all the things you have to think about from a regulatory environment, from the way just the environment works in general, right? So it delivered a lot of value.
So the education route requires somebody to be a subject matter expert in something other than Objective-C.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does. Yeah.
More questions?
I don't have a question, and I'm not a developer. I just wanted to disclose that. But going back to where the opportunities lie, and if there are opportunities in the enterprise space, I was at Meritalk conference yesterday, which is for federal IT workers. It was very interesting, actually, to hear the government of all people talk about the opportunities that are present today and over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, for open source IT software developers or even mobile app developers, because of the advent of WikiLeaks and everything else. They are in a push right now to figure out how to control security and yet increase the value of the return to taxpayer dollars, and then also increase their own productivity. So there are multiple agencies, from the VA to DHS to law enforcement representatives, that were saying, we've got problems, we've got fewer dollars, and so we're opening our doors to fund projects from developers who have ideas. And it goes back to what you guys were saying. If you have a solution to a problem, believe it or not, the government's open to hear about it, and they from somewhere have the money to do it.
So can you give us some more specificity? Where can we go to get that 40%?
I have notes, so I don't have it.
Are you on our Facebook group?
Yeah, just post to the Facebook page.
I know there's one like challenge.gov has a lot of things that they put out there, problems that they want people to go solve, and they offer grants for some of it too.
And
the Marine Corps has a site that does it too. Have you seen that? The Marine Corps.
Marine Corps has so challenge.gov, Marine Corps.
No, for its developers, they put it up recently because the Marines, especially the pilots, are using the iPads in the field, and they put the website up there with suggestions for people in the field of apps they needed to have. I'll try to get the link and put it up on the website.
That they're willing to pay for.
They want developers to develop, and they will buy.
Oh, that's a freebie.
There's several sites for it. I can put some of it up on our site as well, since we have access to a lot of that information. And if you'd like, I can feed it back to the Facebook. There's also a huge chunk of money available at USAID There's DOD, USAID are both 250 million at USAID. So
250 million for
ACP
mobile
website,
apps.
the mobile app. Yeah, well, 250 million for their total projects, but they're earmarking some of it for mobile apps. Even the USPTO is looking at a grant for mobile apps. So it's a lot of money out there. If it's helpful, we'll put together a page on all of them. I will warn you, it's a mountain to climb to get into the government process, and I know there are. I know several people in this group who climb the mountain and have the scars, but
They're apparently trying to make it less of a mountain and more, not centralized, but more accessible. So there's some other website that they're gonna go live with in a couple months that will kind of act as more of a portal, so that it's not as segmented. Because they do, one of the issues that they're trying to figure out also is cross-agency communication and how to save taxpayer dollars by increasing functionality across agencies where they can. So things maybe like the HR function that someone else had presented.
So if I were Pete, I'd be setting up a meeting with you. Would you be willing to help MoDev with this?
Sure.
Great. I'll grab you afterwards and connect you with Pete, or maybe Yerma can do that. Okay. More questions for the panel?
One last.
Steve? Well, yeah, one.
Okay, I just got one more statement about Amazon. They just opened up like a government region for their Amazon Web Services that's totally locked out and only available to the US. So if you're interested.
I think Google is doing something similar also with the federal offering of secure Google Apps.
Okay, good to know. Steve?
Yes, a lot of the applications could be for both the consumer base as well as the enterprise base. Would you recommend pursuing both at the same time, or do you think you should focus on one or the other? Evernote, for example, could have been redesigned easily to be an enterprise application, but they went strictly after the consumer end, with hoping that small businesses would join in.
My advice, and I'd say this, regards to mobility, just startup in general, is focus. And it is, particularly mobility, there's so many complexities in terms of cross-platform, everything else. Even when you find your focus, you will find that it's still bigger than you can handle, and you're still going to have to cut it down even more and even more. So I would say, no, focus, get successful, and then expand from there.
Same answer.
So we're at the end of our time, join me in, before we thank the panelists, let me say, when I got an email from Pete and it had 4 questions in it, I thought, hour and a half, but obviously this is a rich topic, and we've had lots of really good questions. Thanks for staying with us, and let's give a round of applause to the panelists.